Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Let me just get set up here. I'm going to read a passage from Shinran Shonin, and then I will continue on with my message. So, no dogs, no dogs, no dogs.
No more dogs. No more dogs. No more dogs.
When we say Namo Amida Butsu, which surpasses all virtues, our heavy obstructions of evil, past, present, and future, are all unfailingly transformed, becoming light. No doubts. So the passage that I just quoted is part of the Jodo Wasan, or Hymns of the Pure Land, written by Shinran Shonin, who is the founder of our school of Buddhism, Jodo Shinshu, and is found on the right side of the altar over there. Well, now we're almost a month into 2026. Double checking, yes, 2026. So I would like to take a second to ask you all a question to answer for yourselves. How are you doing? How are you doing? Maybe you've had a great day so far. You've had that cup of coffee, that cup of tea. Maybe you're having a good week or weekend. You got to hang out with friends, walk somewhere nice, take in the warm weather when it has been warm. For others, maybe things have been a little tough lately. Some of us are still recovering from last year's fires, or maybe something happened to a loved one lately. Another thing that could be negative is all the things that we're seeing in the news lately. So it can be really hard to keep one's head up. When things seem tough, it could be hard to rely on anyone or anything. Some of us want that space to decompress, or maybe some of us want to do something else to just take our minds off of things so that we don't have to think of what makes us feel so negative. Now, new question for you all. What is something you have done for someone else recently? What is something you have done for something else recently? Maybe you've opened the door for someone at a grocery store or retail store. Maybe you took someone out for a meal or drink. Maybe you've looked after someone who wasn't feeling well or is unable to do the things that they can usually do. For many of you, you've helped your fellow Sangha members and your temple to navigate through the damage from the wildfires last year. You helped each other out. You checked on each other. And you still continue to check in on each other. I'm sure with each of these nice gestures, you were able to brighten someone else's day, including maybe even your own. At the beginning of my message, I mentioned a phrase that many of you may be familiar with, Namo Amida Butsu. Typically, you hear it recited 3 times as a part of what we call Nembutsu, or roughly translated, thinking of the Buddha. And it could be said more or less times than those 3. But really, what does the phrase Namo Amida Butsu mean? Namo is to take refuge, and Amida Butsu is Amida Buddha, who is actually here in the middle of the altar here. And so Namo Amida Butsu is to take refuge in Amida Buddha. To clarify, the term refuge is defined in Merriam-Webster as shelter or protection from danger or distress. But is it that simple to take refuge in Amida Buddha? Amida is an enlightened being who gave up their own kingdom, their own riches, their wealth, so that we can be saved from our suffering. They are actively working to protect us from the suffering we experience. But as bonbu, or what is translated as foolish beings, it can be very hard to navigate through that. But through every negative experience, through any bad encounters we have, I feel that because Amida has put so much trust in their vows to save us from suffering, they are helping us to see through those negatives and to help us to see the light that is always there to help us move forward so that we may be able to help others around us when, of course, we're ready to do so. Those negative experiences will always be there. There's no denying that. However, Amida's always there to help put those negatives into perspective so that we're able to see the things that matter around us. As we gather here today at the Pasadena Buddhist Temple, let's take a moment to reflect on the vows Amida made for us, or the vows that were established in order for us to end our suffering. While we may be constantly faced with trials, including those that may seem too difficult for us to overcome, Nembutsu, or Namoi Dabutsu, helps us to transcend those trials, these heavy obstructions, and make them seem small next to the compassion and wisdom we receive from Amida. Each negative experience can help us to see that wisdom and compassion of Amida. Each instance can lead us to understand how Namoi Dabutsu surpasses all virtues. These negative experiences in our lives no longer have the power to trap us in our own darkness, but help us to see the light of the Buddha, or the light that can take that darkness away. And with that, I would like to conclude my message. Thank you very much for listening, and I will go ahead and close with the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Next, Reverend Gibbs will do his Dharma talk, Good Emerges in Our Lives.
Yeah, thank you, Ali Sensei, for the lovely talk, and thank you, Kathy, for sharing the service. Thanks to all of you for being here this morning. And as usual, I also will pause to thank my colleagues in presenting the service. Again, Ellen Goto, our videographer in the back, Ali Yasaki and Kathy Mikuni, our minister's assistants, Howard Hayes, our organist, and Kyoko Okura Gibbs doing the flowers. Those yellow flowers are just gorgeous. They're so yellow. Love it. My theme today is that goodness emerges in life, but of course everything emerges in life, but goodness can emerge from life. All kinds of things develop out of this life that we share together, but amongst them is goodness. Most of us have good days and bad days, and sometimes we act with integrity and we're able to bring goodness to others and ourselves as well. On my bad days, though, I don't manage to bring forth much positivity. I suspect we all wish life would treat us better. Sometimes we can change our behavior so that life does seem to treat us better. More goodness emerges from life when we adjust our diet, when we beef up our exercise program, when we watch the news less often. Click on the internet less often. But most of us also wish we could treat others well. As Ali Sensei asked us, What have we done for others this week? We want to be able to say, oh, I did this and that and the other thing, and then there was this thing. I don't have as many things to say as I'd like to, but we wish we could treat others well, better than we do. We wish we could treat others more consistently well. Just deciding to be nicer doesn't necessarily make you be nicer. It doesn't work like that. Our minds, our hearts, and our bodies are like gardens. We can encourage good things to grow. We can provide the right conditions for our gardens. We can plant the right seeds, but we can't just will the flowers to pop up. It doesn't work like that. We have to be more flexible and relaxed. We are this complex thing. What we can do is to provide what we believe are wholesome conditions and plant the proper seeds. The conditions that you need for a vegetable garden are pretty straightforward. Our minds, including their unconscious dimensions, our hearts and our bodies, are these other gardens, and they call for deep, complex, and sometimes very subtle forms of nurturing. It's not just simply straightforward. My own way of putting what I'm trying to say here is that our values can mature at a deep level. At a deep level, our values can mature. Our moral palate can become educated. That's probably easy to understand, but do we believe it? I'm going to read you a quote from my friend and mentor, Dennis Rota, and this is academic language, so it's going to be a little dense, but then I'll say what it means in my language. But if I may quote Dennis Rota from Toward a Contemporary Understanding of Pure Land Buddhism. Shinran, that's our denominational founder, Shinran clearly rejects a view that only evil can be performed and that we can do no good. He rejects that view. He rejects it as a merely conceptualized understanding. That's just an idea in your head. The awareness of Shin practitioners constantly moves beyond the perspective of the constructed egocentric self, opening the possibility for acts not self-consciously willed, as compassionate, but arising naturally and inevitably, jinen, from the broadened context. This is the moral dimension of human subjectivity of daily life, free from the reification of the transcendent self. Now that's complex language. I know it's challenging, but what Dennis is saying is the same thing I'm trying to say. Goodness can arise in our lives. The conditions of our lives and our actions can be the background for goodness to emerge. We just don't always know. We can't say, this is the good thing I'm doing, and that I shouldn't have done that. Sometimes the thing we thought we shouldn't have done, it's a good thing we did that. And sometimes that thing, that good thing we did, well, really wasn't so good. We thought it was. But in reality, true goodness can emerge in our lives. Again, it's like a garden. You take care of the watering, you put the proper fertilizers, you make sure you're in the right degree of sunlight, and something good may come out. This is what Dennis, I'm calling it a garden. Dennis called it the broadened context of our lives. Either way, we're talking about you're not just this mental thing. You're the heart and the body, the endocrine system, the lymphatic system. We are this complex unification of multiple systems, you know? And you don't just will things to be good, but if you plant the right seeds, if you provide the right conditions, you will see goodness emerging in your life. So, at least for this morning, I'm going to keep working this garden analogy. And we are the garden. We're not the whole planet. Each of us individually is not the whole planet. Each of us individually is not the whole solar system. But we are this complex, fertile, complex, interesting garden. We're not just a single flower. What's your favorite flower? My mother's favorite flower were lilies of the valley, this very delicate little thing. She kind of saw herself as being like a lily of the valley, and she was delicate, fragile, beautiful, and good. She was like that, but she really was a garden, just like all of us. And I grew out of that garden. Maybe roses are your favorite flower. But you're not like that single flower. You are the garden out of which all this comes, the weeds, the roses, the lilies of the valley. Keep planting wholesome seeds in your garden. Be mindful of the conditions surrounding your garden. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating well? Are you saying nice things to your family and your friends? Keep planting wholesome seeds. Remain mindful of the conditions of your garden, your mind, your body, your emotional life. This is something that you and I can do today. Right now, we need to take care of ourselves and of our broadened context, our garden. Our world is not healthy right now. Our nation's state is not in a wholesome condition right now. Whomever you choose to blame, Renee Nicole Good and Alex Pretty should not be dead. They should not have been killed in Minneapolis. Whoever you want to blame, whatever changes you think need to be made, this should not be. Our school of Buddhism, Jodo Shinshu Hongan Jiha, has a history of speaking out against injustice. Nishi Honganji, our mother temple, has been very active in opposing discrimination against the Burakumin. We don't translate that title because it translates as the village people. So that gets, that takes us somewhere we don't want to go. The Burakumin are a group of people in Japan who were treated with severe prejudice because their work at some level includes killing animals. So that means shoe salesmen. Shoe salesmen cannot borrow money from the normal bank. They won't lend you money if you are a shoe salesman, you know. Well, our people go in and say, oh, we understand you wouldn't give Kenji a loan, you know, and he, you know, his shoe store is really doing well here, right over there by the station, and he thought he'd like to build another shoe store here, but I don't understand. He's got a real solid bit of this store should secure the loan. What's going on here? I mean, we may need to ask our people not to do business with your bank anymore. And suddenly Kenji gets the loan. That has happened like 1,000 times in the last 50 years. This is a big thing with our group. Do not allow prejudice. Do not allow certain people to be treated different because of how they work, what jobs they do. Our mother temple in Japan, Nishonganji, has opposed the development of catastrophic weaponry. Do not build nuclear bombs. Do not build catastrophic weapons. Don't put lasers, guns in space. Our founder, Shinran Shonin, openly criticized the emperor and his administration in writing after he and his beloved teacher Honen were exiled, and three of their colleagues were executed. And they were executed because they spent all night talking to courtesans, and the courtesans shaved their heads and became nuns. There was no suggestion of any impropriety. It's just like, I had this courtesan and now she's a nun? Oh. They beheaded three of these guys for doing that. You know, right there at 3rd Street Bridge. I always used to go over that 3rd Street Bridge occasionally just to think about it. Like, right there, man. This woman shot with a Nembutsu, and she said, I want to be a nun. I want to spend my whole life doing this. So if they killed him for that, the Shinran would not stand for that. Shinran wrote in his masterwork, the Ken Jodo Shinshu Tsukyo Shomon Rui, the emperor and his vassals abandoned justice and embraced enmity and pettiness. Now, in the history of the nation of Japan, no one else has written anything like that. Shinran was the most politically active Buddhist guy you're ever going to meet. He would not stand for that. He had to speak out. He knew that if this book of his, you know, he copied it by hand, they didn't have printing presses, but he gave it to his best students to copy by hand, and it kept moving around, and he knew that if anybody from the government saw that, he's dead. He doesn't care. You can't do that. You can't kill people for teaching religious teachings to someone. You can't kill people because you don't like who they are. You can't send people into exile because somebody who's powerful told you to do it. Shinran would not stand for that. We don't put up with this stuff. So there's no rule against making political statements in our stream of Buddhist tradition. You've heard people say that religion is one thing, politics is another. What kind of statement is that? Is it a religious? It's a political statement. It's a manipulative political statement. It's an extremely conservative, very manipulative political statement. And it's false. Nobody ever said that on the religious side. Jesus never said that. The Buddha never said that. Shakyamuni Buddha never said that. Shinran Shonin never said that. Our life is one continuous thing. You can't just go, oh, that's politics. I don't want to talk about that. No, we got to address the whole reality as best we can, when we can, effectively. And there's my problem. My problem is that I have no idea what to do right now, so far as the body politic, the nation state. Should I write a protest letter to the president? How much good do you think that would do? He won't see it. If somebody in his staff sees it, it's just to put my name on an enemies list. It's not that they're going to do anything positive. So that's why I'm emphasizing taking care of ourselves just now. There will be a time to act, and we'll see what to do. So take care of yourself until then. Make sure you have the energy, you have the calm heart, the peace of mind, the focus, the health, because there's going to be some elections in November. There's going to be some politicking, some campaigning come up real soon. You find the people you believe in and you support them. At times like these, I take inspiration from many sources, including the Tao Te King, the compendium of ancient Chinese wisdom. And one of my favorite statements from the Tao Te King is that when the general populace follows the path of goodness, the person of wisdom flourishes. And when the people do not follow the way of goodness, the person of wisdom survives. It's time to survive. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your friends, and be ready. Be ready to act when you see what to do. When you see what to do. I don't see what to do right now, but I do know we have to take care of ourselves until we do have an action to take. I'm in survival mode right now. And I'm listening to gentle music. This morning I was listening to Bach's Concerto for Two Violins. There's all kinds of versions on YouTube. I'm trying to see if I can really hear, the difference. I've listened to about 6 versions on YouTube. I can tell that these 3 are a lot better than that one, but I'm trying to listen to the 2 violins, and I'm not that good, but it's a lovely little piece of music. I was listening to that recently. And I found one of my favorite movies on YouTube. I was drawn to it when I saw an article saying it had, at the box office, it earned $6,000. In its first release under its original title, and the original title is the best title, the original title under which it earned $6,000 is Sex, Death, and Bowling. Sex, Death, and Bowling. Just Google, do a search engine for sex, death, and bowling, and it'll pop right up. You can watch it. I found it absolutely charming. Watch charming movies, listen to calming, soothing music, and be ready to stand up and speak loudly when it'll do some good, when you're in a position that it'll do some good. I'm also feeding the wild birds. I had a problem feeding the wild birds is we have one squirrel on the grounds. We used to have 2 squirrels on the ground. Some of you know what happened to the other one. It drowned and I think it was probably his mate. So I'm sorry for the little guy, but I do drive him off. I let him eat for a while, but he'll eat everything. He'll eat everything I put out there. So I'll say, oh, that's enough, leave some for the birds. And he leaves. So I'm feeding the wild birds, I'm listening to calming music, I'm watching soothing movies, and I'm gonna be ready when the time comes. If you can think of something to do just now to stop the state-sponsored violence, do it. Be like Shinran. But if you're more like me and you're feeling traumatized by current events, then focus on tending your garden. Listen to soothing music, say kind words to your family and your friends. It'll come back to you. Watch wholesome, diverting films, and be ready. There will be those elections. There will be the campaigning coming up very shortly. There will be action to take. Even though it all worked out so poorly for him, Hamlet's famous remark is worth considering here: readiness is all. It didn't work for Hamlet, and that's a very strong Christian-based statement about how that didn't work in that play. But it'll work for us. Readiness is all. I don't know something to do right now to fix the nation politic, to fix the world, but I do know that readiness sometimes is all. Take care of yourself, be ready. It'll be clear to you what to do at some point, and then you'll be ready to do it. And that's my message for today. Goodness can emerge in our lives, but sometimes readiness is all. Thank you. I'm going to close with Gasho and saying the Buddha's name a few times. Join me as you wish. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Thank you very much.